Hello and welcome again to another fabulous episode with myself and our lovely guest today. Her name is Jeanette Eriksson. Welcome, Jeanette.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Sonia.
And thank you for being here too. It is really, really lovely to have you here. So today, listeners, our topic is the benefits of bringing a Nordic approach to business and life. We've got some extra special information in there and some really great questions to bring forward for you today, listeners. But let me tell you a little bit more about Jeanette. So she's the founder of Nordically, an executive performance coach and higher education expert and a best-selling author. So she is a former university head of admissions and an ex-England handball coach who started Nordically coaching and consulting just over 3 years ago, providing executive business performance coaching to leaders, managers and staff, as well as assistance to individuals wanting help to achieve life goals or help with achieving life goals, which I think this is all fabulous. And I really, really love our topic. So Jeanette, perhaps before we get into the nitty gritties of the topic, do you want to tell a little bit about your story?
So, like you said, I was a head of admissions. I worked for an institution which I adored. I loved the mission statement. I loved the people. I loved being a manager. And I think that the thing I liked the most was to lead my team, to be the leader. The problem is that when you move up the ranks, there is less time for leading the team and encouraging and building this team. So I found myself sitting in boardrooms arguing about, recruitment rather than actually having the time that I wanted. So an opportunity came up to leave voluntary redundancy. I went to India, sat with an offer on a beach, and I decided that, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take a chance, leave this place that I love and these people I adore and a job I really like to actually do the stuff I really want to do, and that's to help people and make them grow. So I came back, they gave me 15 months notice. So I had a little bit of time to actually prepare myself. And 3 years ago, I started Nordically, which uses, as you said, a Nordic approach to coaching and the consulting side. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. It sounds very interesting. It's always interesting to hear people's stories and how they went through several different types of transitions and to bring their various different sorts of skills and experiences to where they are at the moment, and certainly helping a lot of other people in business, which is fabulous. And the fact that you've been part of a really large organization that you can actually fill in quite a lot of gaps to help lots of different types of business owners, managers and leaders, which is nice. So you have to tell us all about this whole Nordic approach, bringing the benefits of Nordic approach into business and life. So what is that all about?
Well, Sonia, let me tell you. So in Sweden and the other Nordic countries, such as Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Iceland, it's all about the greater good, really, as well as self-care and better job satisfaction. That's really high on the list in those countries. There's also, you have a consensus culture, which feeds into business and decision making. We try I live in London, but obviously I am Swedish. We have we try and stay away from hierarchy, which is quite different from the UK market or UK businesses, as well as the US business. They try and incorporate order and structure where possible, so that when you have incorporated it, you you can work freely around those things because you know where you stand, you know what is happening. And also to integrate as much self-care as possible. And that, I would say, is the key thing. And that can feed into the office, actually builds into your work life as well as your home life to achieve your goals, whether you're a manager wanting to get the most out of your staff, or you're a member of staff that wants to get the most out of your work. There's also a lot of straight talking in those countries. And that's something I try and incorporate when I go into business and say, right, let's talk about what we really want to talk about here, and get that to be the way that you communicate. So it's about encourage honest, straight talking, efficient hygge in our lives. So yeah.
So, okay, so then would you like to explain what hygge is? As you explained it to me, I think it's
yeah,
very interesting.
Right.
I think that a lot of people are doing it without realizing it, and that here's another country that has a whole philosophy around it and how they actually pull it into both work and business. Business and life. So go for it.
Yeah. Well, hygge is actually a Danish word, but it means to coziness, and it sounds all very, you know, and you can see behind me here, we talked about it, there's candles. There's always candles being lit here. But there's more than just having good lighting at home and soft materials and nice smells, but there's an element of that. But it's when it's about self-care and being a part of nature a little bit. So for instance, I when we were talking earlier, right, it's in the office, for instance, I used to bring hygge into my own senior position, where I would sit in the office and I would often take my shoes off and just sit and feel the floor or the carpet, as this is Great Britain, they love a carpet in the office, and feel it and be a little bit a part of nature, because the Scandinavian countries would grow up with nature. It's being cozy outdoors even, or so I would have nice smells in the office. I would have a perfume that I would wear that would be my management perfume. So my senses would be on fire, because I've set that up. I'll be feeling the floor. And in Scandinavian workplaces, you would have, it's a lot less formal. So it's creating a comfortable, encouraging atmosphere where everyone is comfortable to be who they are. Even hygge here, you can say, feeds into the way that the different levels work. So we said earlier about hierarchy. There's not really any hierarchy over in Scandinavia. So you could walk around and you have the CEO of a company sitting in his jeans and a sweater in a corner with a laptop, and he could be mixed up with an intern. And the same way would be in a meeting, where you wouldn't have the fear of not being able to be yourself. That's the thing. So it's about being comfortable in your own skin, in your workplace, in your home. You come home, you self-care, you have baths, you set time aside to, I would encourage, sorry, I'm just keep on talking now, but for instance, my staff, they would try and work through lunch, and I would demand that they would take a lunch break, because I'm a great believer in taking lunch breaks, and that is self-care. And if you don't take the break, you don't go outdoors, or you don't stop what you're doing, you're not going to be of any benefit to me in the afternoon, because you'll be either really stressed out, or you'll be really hungry, or you need some air. So it's about encouraging managers to think like that. It's about encouraging people to look after themselves, to be the best selves, whether that's at home or at work or whatever. And that way, if you get that right, you feel great wherever you are.
Mm, mm. Well, this is the thing, I think that if you can really see the difference when you're actually with organizations that do something like that and those that don't. When you're inside it internally as, say, staff member, you can also feel it externally when you're a client or customer. And you can see it over the longevity of those that do well is those that have incorporated those sorts of
Mm.
ethoses compared to those that don't. And then if you look at the actual research that's out there, hello, it's there as far as the benefits are concerned, the productivity, how it helps your top line and your bottom line, all of those sorts of things, how it helps in business. And yet we're still finding that there is just so much, I don't know if it's so much resistance, but people think, well, this is the way it is, should be or has been done. This is the way to be seriously successful. This is what we've got to do. Or, you know,
It's the ego, I
yeah, the
think.
ego, or screw someone over, or, do this, or the tall poppy syndrome, all of those sorts of different things that go on. And it's like, come on, people, we can be so much more than that, and it doesn't have to be that way. So this is a really interesting approach that you bring to us, that there are quite a few other countries doing this and are very successful with their businesses. Um, and certainly prior to having this conversation or this interview, we were talking about certain different countries. And, yes, we are, where I am in Australia, we're part of the Commonwealth. So I think there's still that little bit of a common denominator amongst the countries that have the Commonwealth compared to those that don't. But I think that it's also because as a society, we've accepted a lot of those sorts of things. We've seen it on TV and we think this is normal, and it's not. And that's why I'm fascinated with it. And please tell us more. What really are the benefits? So and we're talking about life and business because the two together work and help each other out, particularly for entrepreneurs. So give us some more benefits and what we should really be doing moving forward.
Well, I think there's two things. So if we look at companies, and whether you're a small business owner that has staff, or you're a senior executive working in a company, I think they are the people that you need to start from the top down. So you need to change the approach in the company, be more forthcoming with your staff, have less of the wall between you. How often do you not see big offices with the greatest views just being filled with these senior suit wearing, non-approachable executives? And that alone is, that's a thing of the past. You can still be respected, although you are one with the people. And actually being one with the people, you hear what the people has to say. And for instance, going back to Scandinavia, it's very much, I mentioned the consensus culture. It's very, very common that you have the CEO or very senior people sitting down with the people and coming with their staff, coming up with decisions that everyone agrees to. And it has this, quite often in these meetings, at the end they go, and then we say so, translated, obviously, they say, and then we say so. And it's a bit like, this is the formal agreement then. This is what we agree. And that's from, assistants to top level and people getting involved, because the attitude is, if not everyone's happy with it, it's not going to work. If you're just getting orders from above, it's not going to work. So I think it needs to start there. It needs to be a little bit more of a conversation. You need to trust the staff that they're going to do what they are being asked to do. And that obviously requires them being recruited for the job they're meant to be doing. Because that's another thing that I think you have to believe in the people that you have recruited. And obviously now we're sitting in the middle of COVID. So so it's tricky to start doing all of this now, perhaps. And maybe I would say leaders have become a little bit more approachable, because it's a little bit more like this. You have a part of their home perhaps behind them on meetings, or maybe they've joined in various things. But this is a COVID time. So together with breaking down some barriers, start listening to your people and communicating better and taking joint decisions to drive the business forward. It's a team after all, you know, whether you're on your own, and then we're talking a different thing here. Then support your staff's mental health, because this is a tricky time, and not everyone is have used 2020 and really, you know, flourished during this time because they feel like they had more time to do so, and they might have been at home really scared of what's going on. So invest in your staff's mental health and encourage things that are self-care. I think that's where you need to start with the company. So just bring it to a team. I'm a sportswoman, you know, I've always been a sportswoman. I don't think there's much difference between a sports team and a work team. You have people in their roles for different things. You have the defender, you have the attacker, you have the goal scorer, you have the captain. And it's the same in a company. You know, you have to find strategy to win or protect, or, you know. So that's that. And I think the second answer, that this is the same question, but I think us as individuals, we also need to take ownership or responsibility for our own well-being. And that means schedule quality time, hygge time, schedule nice things, identify the little things that make you happy. Start with a hot bath, and then maybe you realize that, oh, actually I need to listen to more music, or I need to go for walks, and I need to take my lunch break, and communicate with your boss or bosses and say, I need to schedule me time even during work hours, and come to an agreement so you don't feel constantly stressed when that Teams meeting, you know, is pinging away, etc. So take ownership of your own mental health. Work out what I always say: if you don't ask, you don't get. So if there's certain things to do with work that would make you happier, that you can agree with your bosses, do it, ask for it. They're very likely they're going to say yes, rather than just sit at home and get stressed and not enjoy what you're doing. And that way, if both work together, you and the manager work together, you're going to have a much happier workforce that's not going to want to leave, that's want to achieve the best, and together you just flourish as people and in your home life. You're going to be a lot happier with your partners, with your kids, with your, so yeah. That's the two answers.
So with the, thank you. It was good. So with the entrepreneurs out there, they don't a bit of a common denominator is that they don't look after themselves terribly well. It's because they really get quite a high on doing so much, trying to achieve so much. And then there's the others that just sort of, it's the control factor that they want to do. And so therefore they're always chasing that 8 ball and always feeling behind. So then how can they go about encouraging and taking on the hygge concept and implementing it into their life?
I think there's, for instance, if you're working from home, which a lot of entrepreneurs are doing anyway, but now in particular because we have COVID, I know that your home space becomes your workspace, become your live space, become whatever. And also you try and squeeze everything in, and you're constantly thinking, and like you and I were talking about, there's constant plans going on, this constant work, and because you're working for yourself, you want to achieve more, so you just push. But what you need to do is to make sure that you schedule the me time I just mentioned, have a plan. Have a plan for the day or the week, have a cutoff point where you are not available anymore, because you might have a lot of people contacting you because there's a lot of stuff going on. Switch off your computer, switch off your phone if you really have to, because if you don't do that, it's all going to become one big work moment. From the point you wake up to the point you go to bed, you're just going to be working. Whether you're working or not, you're in work mode. I put on different smells in the house, for instance. So when I'm working, there's one candle burning, for instance, that is a smell. That's my work smell. Or I wear a certain perfume. That's my work perfume. And then when I'm not working anymore, I change the smell over. So the connotations of the smell is now it's off time. The laptop stays shut. The phone doesn't always get switched off, but lunch breaks. You're an entrepreneur. You're at home. You're working. And suddenly it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you haven't even eaten. You will not have been your best that afternoon. So again, schedule the same way you schedule meetings with people, the same way you schedule to do other work-related things. Schedule your lunch break, schedule a walk or a run or whatever it is, so that there's a plan, but planning the things that will make you fresher and make you not despise working at the end of, suddenly you find yourself, So that's what I would say is schedule the me time and just start doing it. And after a few days, it will become a little bit more of a habit, and then you're going to need it. And then you're going to realize that, why didn't I do this before? So you need to look after yourself. It's the oxygen mask. Whether it's your company or your staff or whatever, you need the oxygen mask first before you can help anyone else.
I always found that one a really hard concept to really take on board, because it's not how I was brought up, and it's not my first way of thinking. Even being a mother, I've always like, oh my gosh, no, my children first. And it really wasn't until probably late 30s, if not my 40s, that I suddenly went, I really do have to do this, because otherwise I'm not going to be there to continue to do that for them.
No. And if you are there, then you might be a not very happy, positive person, because we all get dragged down. Yes, and we need to make sure we keep the spiral going upwards, not downwards.
Yes, absolutely. And I also have, because I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I find it really difficult to do that shut off like you're talking about. And I've had, like, how do I really make that happen? Like, I've got, as people will know, that I have accountability partners. So that'll be my husband and my children, and even the dog will, take me for a walk, sort of thing. So I have that, but sometimes it's the habits, because when you get onto having a piece of chocolate, which for me is work, I know I'm crazy, and you can get so fixated and carried away, you forget the time that goes by. I love the idea or the concept that you had, even with the smells, because I know about aromatherapy and how it works on the subconscious mind. So if I had an alarm that went off and I said, okay, now I've got to change my smell around, then I know that is really going to work more for me to go, yep, this is shutdown time. This is off time. This is me time, or this is sleep time, or all of those sorts of things. I think that I haven't heard that approach before. So I really like that. I know the effectiveness of smells, and so I was thinking, like, I think I've been using Hygge and I didn't realize it. But when I've been trained,
yes, you have, yeah.
When I train people like face to face, I would often use aromatherapy, and I would sprinkle around. A lot of people didn't realize until they went, what's that smell? And it's like, that's because I'm going to keep you awake.
There you go. There's a Scandi in there. I can see that,
Yes.
I was
So,
going to add to that.
mm,
Sorry, just something I thought of that isn't necessarily hygge, but it's to do with how to approach, working from home and differentiating between work and non-work. And a really good friend of mine, we were talking about this the other week, and there was someone she knew that I started doing, and it's to go for a walk before you start your work day, as if you're walking to work. Then you go to work. You're going home, obviously. And when you finish the day, you decided that's it, and then you go for a walk as well. It doesn't have to be long, but it's the association of then going for a walk to come home, and that's it. That's the end of the work day.
yeah.
So it's rather than switch off the laptop and sit on the sofa. You might have done that all day in a way. You have little breaks, and so there's no change. So by going out, go for a little walk, come back home, that's it. It's as if you walked home from work.
I like that.
Change the smell, have a little bit of me time, whatever that is, your choice. For me, I love a bath. I lie there, I get to empty the mind, I get to relax. So when I come out of the bath, I'm like, okay, the day is off, I've washed it off, light candles, and it's cozy time, and it's hygge, and it's nice smells, and it's nice taste, and it's nice.
Yes, I think that is a thing that a lot of people sort of haven't, those behavioural habits, those behavioural patterns that we had prior to COVID and then during COVID. I think that that's where there's been quite a bit of a mishmash with values and concepts and what we do and how we do. Definitely, when you're looking at a big picture, even to the point that the sales of deodorant went down considerably because people weren't bathing as regularly.
Really?
Yes.
I've done the opposite.
That's
Always
fine.
shower, but now I'm having baths. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
or showering. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
those habits and patterns that we were doing prior to. And I also, I suppose that there's listeners here thinking, well, I've always worked from home. And again, it's those habits and those patterns. And I think that what you suggested there, as far as doing a walk before work, doing a walk afterwards, is the indication to the subconscious mind for the beginning and the end. I think that's really powerful too. Love that. Love that. So another question, you had mentioned prior to the hygge, when we spoke before we started recording this, was sisu. So could you tell us a little bit more about that and how that benefits us with business and life? Did I say it right?
Sisu, yeah.
Sisu.
Sisu.
Right.
Yeah, it's Finnish. I can't speak much Finnish apart from Minna rakastan sinua, which means I love you.
Okay.
That's a bit. Anyway,
When I've had a couple.
Sisu, I used to play the accordion. I played the accordion for 5 years until I decided to take handball, my sport, to another level. And I had an accordion teacher called Pertti Kynkeniemi. And he always said to me, you don't, sport is bad, music is good, he said. And I'm sure he believed in sisu. So sisu means resilience. So it's a Nordic resilience approach. And I would say I think all Scandis can come across maybe a little bit hard occasionally when they meet someone. But that's just, it takes a little while to get to know a Scandinavian or a Nordic person. And I think sisu is linked to it a little bit. And it's the resilience of, it's about resilience, coping. So it links back to various things, but one thing we can talk about is just the whole straight talking thing. So in the UK, where I live, the Brits, they like to tiptoe a little bit. They are quite careful. They don't really say what they think in order to, where they're going to offend anybody. Yeah. And I believe you can say whatever you want to someone as long as you just say it in a polite way. But it's about being straight talking, and the straight talkedness works over there because people are resilient. They don't let things affect them. They see it for what they are. It's not obviously I'm speaking in a general sense here, because you have the odd person who doesn't agree with this, obviously. But you can say what you think. You can sit in meetings. We talked about the bosses and the people below them, and people can be honest and straight talking because of this resilience. It's also links to nature. Like my mum always says, there is no bad weather, only bad clothes. So you just get on with it. You put on another layer, then go out. We have -20 sometimes in these countries. So it's just a building, trying to help people build the resilience to see things for what they are. They're not necessarily offensive. They're not necessarily they're just straight talking, and something that you can do something with rather than guessing, or so that's what CISO is.
I like it. It is something that I think that the whole PC and the tiptoeing around, I think that's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and oh gosh, that's another.
You don't get anywhere with that,
Well, to me, what I've noticed is with that is that it's the receiver of the information that's attaching their own baggage to it and not necessarily understanding the intent of where it's coming to from the initially.
Yes, exactly that. Thank you. You phrased it better than I did. But yeah, exactly that.
Yeah,
so
I've experienced that too, and sometimes they're saying that it's not necessarily to point it out to you, but it's trying to role model it to others. And yeah, I get that, but I think that there's, oh gosh, it does depend on the context, and it depends on the situation, and it depends on what are we attaching to it that we don't need to attach to it, and is it for the benefit of the good, and to understand people's intent, I think is really important.
So. And I was going to say, and I think the what feeds in here as well is the efficiency aspect. If you worry too much all the time and you try and second guess what someone is saying or whatever, that's not efficient. No. There's nothing efficient about it. What you're doing is you're just wasting time, not getting on with actually the task in hand. Yep. And I've seen it so many times in so many places where I've gone in to help, and I had to sit people down and say, right, we're gonna talk now, and we're gonna talk straight. And I had to bring people together. And the change in decision making and finding the efficient solutions was amazing, because suddenly people were saying how they felt and what they thought and what they wanted. And no one got offended, because suddenly we were in the same boat.
Exactly.
So much better.
Same boat, rowing in the same direction. Now all we need to do is just to adjust the oars to get less drag. Oh gosh. And it can be difficult. Not everyone belongs in the same boat. And I think that's the other thing, is that some people try to force people to sit in that boat, and you've got to choose the right boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's you that's choosing to sit in that boat. So it's you that chooses to get out. Like, don't make it someone else's problem or issue. And I think that with the whole moving forward with society and with entrepreneurs, and that there's going to be so many more entrepreneurs out there, it's now understanding these sorts of different concepts and how to do business and how to interrelate with other people is going to be that little bit more challenging still for a while, because there's a lot of unnavigated water. I'm using a lot of different ideologies here. Unnavigated waters that a lot of people haven't been part of. The thing is, though, it is around empowerment. When you are concentrating on the wrong thing. Yes, there's the inefficiency, there's the lack of productivity, but also I like to tell people, if they still go, oh, you know, baggage or monkeys, you know, they want to keep a hold of their monkeys on their shoulder, it's the wrong energy. Just don't focus on giving out and holding the wrong energy. Focus on giving out the right energy and having the right energy within you. At least that, because again, that gets back to your hygge, looking after yourself. And that's
and
about,
you feel better and you feel stronger and
yeah,
you want to achieve more and you're not scared, and it's the upward spiral, you know. You start one thing, it's one thing, and before you
that's
know
right.
it, it's
Yeah. And I so get it now with everything that you're talking about, because that's, to be a good leader, you have to be good self-leader first, self-leadership. So yeah, I
yeah.
really like this
And think of the
approach.
greater good, not yourself.
Yes, that's right. It's for the benefit of, yeah, the greater good, the third win, the common denominator. Why on earth are we doing all of
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And drop the ego, and you can still be an amazing leader,
Absolutely.
even though you're one with the people, you know. You're
Yeah.
going to get a lot more feedback, a lot more credit. That's for sure.
Love it, love it, love it. So a question I have for you is, what do you feel are the biggest challenges for leaders and managers in the workplace now, for right now? And now we're looking at post-COVID future possibilities, getting ourselves set up. So what are the biggest challenges?
For managers now, for post-COVID, or ahead now of post-COVID. Sorry, I will carry on. I
Right, we
think
also had a freeze in there too, so it's like, what?
oh no, maybe that was a good thing. Maybe it fitted perfectly. I think one of the biggest challenges now is supporting the staff. That, you know, if you haven't already developed good relationships with your staff, you might not know how they're feeling. So they might not be ready to come back post-COVID, and this is the time you need to start investing in them and support them. And so I think it's creating good relationships, and it's hard when you can't see them face to face, you know. So sitting on a Zoom call is not the same as sitting down with someone. So it's a tricky time, but it can be done. And it's all about listening and having the conversations and interacting. I think setting up for the post-COVID world, I think for managers, the biggest challenge is probably deciding how is the new version of this team office business going to look like? Are you going to go back to the office? So let's assume you have a small company, everyone's working from home at the moment, and then you have post-COVID. Are you going back into the office? Is it going to be a lot? People are going to be used to working from home. Have you changed how you're communicating? But is it working? I think it's deciding, and everything really you need to start planning now. What is going to happen post-COVID? Where do you see your company? Is that one that is based in an office? Are you all going to be online? How does that work with people? Some people love being around people. They need to bounce off others, be their best. Others love working from home. They never want to go back to the office. So it's about finding a situation that works for everyone, and that keep the flexibility of things going. Because I think UK for sure was not the most flexible, flexi working place, whereas Sweden has always been the flexi central. You know, you need to do stuff, it's fine, you work from home, you have your, you know, your kids, you're at home, whatever, and they had more systems set up. Now COVID forced the British society to quickly become flexible. So that's what people are now used to. So it's the whole, you can't now, what I feel, remove the flexibility that has been created for staff or for your people or whatever when it's post-COVID. So you need to you need to think about that. How can you carry on supporting your people to make sure that they are the happiest they can be, they perform the best they can, and yeah, depending on the workforce, what is that physically, systems, communication, training them up, whatever. So yeah, building relationships, making sure you look after your people, but also plan ahead for a solution post-COVID that will work for everyone. Now everyone got a taste of flexibility. So they're the two things.
Powerful, powerful. And even those that are really people that are quite small, and if their staff really are contractors and freelancers and things like that, it's the same sort of situation and scenario, really. So I think that that's really great advice. So thank you for that. It's very, very interesting, a lot of the things that you talk about, and how it's going to help us right now and into the near future, which is really wonderful. So then, speaking of the future, what is on the horizon for you in this year, 2021?
Well, 2021, I'm excited about this year. I think 2020, a lot of people say it's been rubbish, and of course, with all the bad stuff, it's been horrible. It's annus horribilis or whatever. But it's also been a year personally for a lot of creativity, which will actually carry on into 2021. So I have already contributed to a book, one of the One Habit series that has now been launched. And there's going to be another contribution to another book coming out later on in 2021. The emotional intelligence need out there for staff, which we talked about, leaders, and individuals. You know, be emotionally intelligent for yourself. There's a big drive for that going on, which when I started talking about this 3 years ago, people didn't really grasp it, and now it's I see. Yeah, we need to look after the people too, not just the IT systems or building new, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of desire to actually invest in people, which is really positive. So couple of articles here and there. So it's going to be a creative year, I think, with a lot of opportunities to help quite a lot of people. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be really good.
Lovely, lovely. So that'd be very interesting to keep an eye on you and what's going to be coming out of that, which I really like. And that One Habit series recently launched, that was a bestseller for you, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's a bestseller in USA, UK, Mexico, I believe,
Cool.
Canada. So yeah, best-selling author.
That was about post-COVID as well, wasn't it?
Exactly, post-COVID, about habits and unhabits, how to actually thrive in this new post-COVID world, because we can all thrive. We have to choose to do it. And if you can't find it in yourself to do it, then you get yourself a helper, a coach, or whoever that is, to lead you towards that. I do believe in having that. Can be your friend, it could be your boss, or it could be whatever. But I think a lot of people benefit from having that person, and this coach too. That you need someone to support you, steer you, someone to be accountable to, and help you achieve your goals.
Even if you're part of a large organization, just to have that as additional support on the side. Yeah, really, really important. Love that. So tell us then, do you have an offer for the listeners?
I do. So my offer is twofold. So first, you will get a free discovery call with me to discover actually what it is that you want to achieve to work out a plan, what that would be. And if you then decide that you want to make those changes and you think we've come to a plan and a solution, then anyone who contacts me by the 5th of March, a specific date for a semi-specific reason, the 5th of March, anyone who contacts me for a discovery call and decide to go ahead with it would actually get a 10% discount on a package with me if you mention this podcast. So that can be quite a
yeah.
So, but there will be I'm sure you put it on your website.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. People know that they can find it at soniaclark.com/episode to look for you, Jeanette Eriksson. Click on that and then it is there where the URL is. So beautiful. Lovely. Look, I thank you so much for all the pearls of wisdom that you've shared with us, and also some really unique strategies and ideas now to put into play to help us both in our personal and professional life, and to therefore achieve our goals. I mean, what else can we want?
That's right. That's it. Nothing else.
Love it. So thank you very much again for your time today, and we will say see you later.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Great being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.